Tori Kruse. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Also follow me on social media at Miss Tori Kruse. I really appreciate it. All right, so today we have on the show Alexandra Harper. She was my Miss USA sister. She was Miss Tennessee USA 2018. And I will let you take it from here and tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing now, and how you got to where you are.
Yes, Tori. So I am 26, about to be 27. I'm living in Nashville, Tennessee, and right now I'm a freelance website designer. I am born and raised in Nashville. My whole family's here. We call ourselves the Kardashians of the South because we're literally all here. I'm an only child, but all my cousins are like my brothers and sisters. And I was Miss Tennessee USA 2018. And that's how I know Tori, my girl.
Yeah. Woohoo. It's been so long. We were just talking a little bit before this, and
Yeah.
It's literally been forever since we've seen each other. 2 years.
But it seems like it was just yesterday, which is hilarious.
I know. It's so nuts that there's already been a couple Miss USAs that have been crowned since Sarah Rose Summers.
I know, but you were one of like, no joke, like I'm not even joking around. I remember when I met you, I saw you on social media, obviously, because we're all like trolling everyone's accounts, but like, I was like, gosh, she's really pretty. And then when I met you in person, I was like, she's probably one of the most realist people that are even here. You just have like that personality that like kind of rubs off, and I was really wanting to find someone like that. So I love that about you. I think that was great.
Well, thanks. Yeah, we bonded over some lunches. I remember
many.
I guess
many
delicious salads and all that good stuff.
Ground, and I probably ate it off the ground and just crazy things. But at that point in Miss USA, you really don't care.
You really don't care. You just need to eat some food. It's so great. So, all right, besides Miss Tennessee USA, you've also done a lot of amazing things in the entertainment industry. So tell our listeners what you've done there.
Thank you. Well, I've also been on a reality show. It's called Music City. It's on CMT. And right now the producers are trying to get it on Netflix, which is wild. But that kind of started right literally the week after I won Miss Tennessee, which, you know, that's a whole other thing. But aside from that, the last 4 years of my life, I've been freelancing and random things. You know, I had a corporate job right out of college doing sales, but I quit my job voluntarily and started my own blog. And then I was a content writer for a country music news website. And then I went on to do, I guess, like be a personal assistant for a year. I got into being the communications director for a Nashville mayoral candidate and was doing that for her entire campaign. Then I was it's a lot of things, but basically in terms of media and entertainment, the main thing has been me being on the reality show at the same time, literally simultaneously as Miss Tennessee.
So how did you get on the reality show? Did they cast you or did you apply for this?
So I didn't apply. My cousin Jackson is on the show with me as well. And like I said earlier, we're like the Kardashians of the South. So like he is my person, and he's always been my best friend. He's like, if you look him up, he's like the very attractive trainer from Nashville. So he is a personal trainer, and he was always training me to be Miss Tennessee and training me just like workout wise. And then he was reached out to, and then he was mentioning me so much in the interview that they were like, okay, wait, we have to meet Alexandra. Like, who's this person? And at this time, I had no idea that I was going to be competing in Miss Tennessee again, but I ended up doing it, and I ended up winning. And they were actually there on the night that I won, and I became a main cast member in Music City. So it's kind of weird how that works out, but it's basically just like a show that like a friend group in Nashville, and a lot of the people are either artists or singwriters, singer songwriters, and I'm obviously not one of those. Neither is Jackson, but we have a lot of connections here because we're rooted here. So it just kind of made sense for all of us to be together, and it's been a great time so far, but also very stressful, and a lot of anxiety has come from it. So, you know,
So how did you overcome that anxiety? Because that is a lot on your plate.
It is a lot. I will say that. I think that, like I said, after filming literally the week after that I won Miss Tennessee, and then they were also there, which my brain didn't even register that they were physically there when I won. They were filming it, but it was a lot to take in because you're already put into, as you know, Tori, like the spotlight, like you're in the public eye, and you're having articles written about you, like you're in like the newspapers, and you're on online sites, and it's talking about you. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, this show is going to be airing 1 month before Miss USA. So it's definitely a lot of anxiety and a lot of I'm sorry's that came with that. But it's a great experience. Second season was a totally different story. The chains kind of came off, but it's definitely something that's humbling to watch yourself and like just kind of see how you react to people in the situations. And because normally you're not looking in a mirror when you're reacting to something.
Right.
So when you see yourself on television, it's kind of like a correcting moment. You're like, oh gosh, I didn't even know that I responded that way, or that I even made that facial expression,
right?
or did that, or said that.
I've learned that just through interviewing people. I'm like, oh, my face looks like that when I'm agreeing or disagreeing.
I mean, I'm like a broadcast journalism major, and yet it took this for me to realize that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a learning experience, definitely for the first season, with it aligning with Miss Tennessee.
So how did you get into pageantry originally?
So originally, I graduated college in 2015 in May. And then, so I really just didn't know what I was doing. Like I was nannying in Nashville. Do we ever know what we're doing at a college? Like if anyone does, like props to you, but I did not. So I knew that I love broadcasting. I love anything with hosting or whatever else and speaking in front of the camera. But I literally met a family at Chili's and started babysitting for their kids. So I was doing that for like 2 months, and my dad was like, Alexandra, you're gonna have to get yourself a job. Like, what are you doing? Like, you just went to college for 4 years. So I was under so much stress with that and with my father. My mother was Miss Tennessee USA.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's very crazy. We're like one of the only mother-daughter pairings that have ever entered the USA system and actually been successful. But basically what it came down to is I was like, I just need something to do and something to get my mom, to get my dad off my back. And so I decided to do it, not even knowing what comes along with this. And I entered the Miss Tennessee system, and I somehow in some way placed top 5, but I had a horrible time. And I was so insecure about my body. I was so insecure about the way I looked. Like I lost like 5 pounds beforehand, and I was like, girl, I look good. And then I got up there and we were all doing rehearsals and everything else. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I just started bawling. Like I've never felt so insecure in my life. I remember I cried my eyelashes off physically. And so I remember sitting there.
Fake eyelashes, just to clarify.
Yeah, just to clarify, my fake eyelashes, my real lashes were intact. But so basically, I was like, I'm never doing this again. And it was just something that was like the most, I guess, vulnerable I've ever been in my entire life. And I didn't want to feel that way again. I felt like that I was overweight. I was like, oh my God, I lost 5 pounds. And I thought that I was snatched, was not. But like for me, that was working really hard. But then literally like 1.5 years later, I started praying about it, because I would go into Kroger and I had someone come up to me that I hadn't spoken to in years. And they were like, oh my gosh, have you ever considered doing Miss Tennessee again? Like, I love singing. And I was like, what? And then I had someone reach out to me like on a phone call, and I was like, what is happening? And then I had another person reach out to me when I was at a store and at the mall. So all these things started happening. I started praying about it. I got back into it, and I just felt like that it was time, and that the Lord literally just kind of had this restoration period of me of just kind of revamping of how I want to brand myself and go back into this prepared, knowing beforehand I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
So you yourself know, Tori, it's a lot of work, and people just think you can just step on a stage and you're going to be good, but that is not the case.
No. Did you win after your second time?
Yes.
Wow, that's impressive. Do you know how long it took me to win?
No, I don't.
6 times.
Girl, but that is your story, and that is incredible.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wouldn't change it
You're
for the
doing
world
that
now.
now.
I wouldn't change it for the world,
No,
but
of course not.
I think it's so cool to see everybody's different stories, right? Like
Mhm.
mine was 6 years. I think it took, Danny Walker, Miss Montana, about the same, 6 or 7, something like that. I mean, a lot of us, it took a long time. We were the older ones of the crew, but, but
Older
I think
ones.
older. But I
Older.
think it's really cool after 2. I just love hearing the different stories because some people won on their first try, and I'm like, what?
I know, it's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
I would have not known what to do if I would have won my very first try.
No. And
Like,
I think it's completely God too. It's where you pray about it, and then in his timing, then we will get crowned. But
I
until then, he knows when we should be going to Miss USA, and we're capable emotionally and physically too.
100%.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Definitely more physically capable the second time around. So, lesson learned.
And then we get there and eat carrots and spill salsa on the ground and eat salsa off the floor. I mean, it's just weird things happen.
You know that brownie brittle that we got in our like numerous packages, like in our little bags and stuff?
Our little Shreveport goodie bag.
Yes, and like the Mardi Gras cake and all stuff. I ate everything the night of Miss USA, like the night after Miss USA was over. I ate everything.
Did you really?
Everything. I ate every package, every chip, every morsel was consumed. Everything.
That's
So
amazing. So what was that?
I said it was fabulous.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah, we got a cake for all the listeners. We got a cake that had what is it in the middle of a Mardi
We were in Shreveport, Louisiana, so it was like we had all these Mardi Gras themes and whatever else, but like clean Mardi Gras themes. And it was this king baby cake that we got, and I was like, "Why are they giving us all of this stuff? Like, all of it was just food, and they would be like in huge packages delivered to our door. Like we'd have to like pick them up whenever we're done like rehearsing or whatever else, and all of it was food.
Every single one of it. And I don't think there's one healthy
It
thing.
wasn't-
I
no,
mean,
it
God
wasn't
bless
like
the people.
apple. Like it was nothing. It was just stuff. So
Thanks, Shreveport.
all
It's
of
all
that
right.
was
Great
fun.
host city. Yeah, that was pretty entertaining watching everything that we pulled out of there.
Honestly.
But okay, so you were Miss Tennessee USA, and then you're also on Music City. And so I'm sure you had a lot of different mindset techniques. I know for me, I did when I competed. I learned in my total of 8 years of trying to win.
Right.
I taught myself multiple different techniques before I went on stage or before stage, and just preparation. So what did you learn, I guess, in that time span? You only had 2 years before you got crowned Miss Tennessee.
So I just knew that the very first time that I competed, the reason why I was so incredibly emotional, like so taken aback by how emotional I was, because I never felt like that before. It was because I was glued to the person on the left and the right. I was obsessing over what this girl was doing and this girl. I remember like during rehearsals, I would just be like and when I competed, there was 58 girls the very first year.
Wow.
And I remember just like watching rehearsals like this, just like watching every girl, how they walked, how they stopped, how they spoke, like everything. And I had 4 weeks of training. And the same week that I decided to literally 4 weeks before deciding to do Miss Tennessee the very first time.
And 4 weeks, by the way, is like
it,
a day. Like
one,
you should be training for months, if not like a year for
my
this.
mom was like, "Allie, you're an idiot." But I mean, of course, she was so excited because I'm her daughter and she was Miss Tennessee too. But all that to say is, I started a corporate job the same week that I decided to do Miss Tennessee. So I was just overwhelmed. I was just constantly looking at everyone else and judging myself upon what they were doing, rethinking everything that I had been taught in the 4 weeks, #1 day that I had been taught everything. And the second time around, I stayed back in rehearsals. I literally remember sitting on a speaker, this really large speaker, and this like just box of equipment backstage for hours. Like I would not even look at another person. I would not look at what anyone else was doing. I didn't ask anyone about their interview, not because I don't care about them, but I don't want to know how your interview is.
No.
I don't want to know how you feel. I don't want, and I also, when anyone asks me how my interview was or what I said or what questions I were asked or, how I was feeling or what I was wearing, I just couldn't deal with it. And I was like, I love you, but I can't because I'm trying to not make the same mistakes I did before.
So do you do that still today with different situations that you catch yourself comparing yourself to someone? Is that something that you've carried along?
Of course. Oh my gosh. I think that my experience being Miss Tennessee and also competing in Miss USA, I mean, for everyone who doesn't know, you're at Miss USA for 2 weeks in a strange city with nobody. And you are waking up at 5 a.m. You're going to bed at 1 a.m. and you're having to put on a smile and a face and a front all day long. And you are exhausted. There was times we came back at 12 a.m. 1 a.m. And it truly is survival of the fittest. But you're also around these 50 other beautiful women all of the time. So you are constantly having to be secure in yourself and at least secure in what you've been taught and what you know to be true. So that is 100% what I have carried on from the very first experience that I was in Miss Tennessee.
Completely. No, that's amazing. So back to the reality TV. So Music City, CMT, I don't know how much you can say, but would you recommend people going on reality TV?
Yes and no. It depends on what your personality is and if you're outgoing, if you want to be vulnerable and expose your entire life to the world. If you don't want to expose yourself to the entire world, do not do it. But there was a lot with first season, it wasn't that bad because I was Miss Tennessee and I knew that it was literally airing like 4 weeks or 6 weeks before I left. So all of the show was going to be done pretty much before I went to Miss USA.
I do remember that the cameras, weren't they at Miss USA or rehearsals or something?
There was a cameraman that was flown in last minute and because I think that maybe they were at the prelims. I have been getting calls from my producers all week long. And I was like, if you call me one more time, I'm at Miss USA, like, please don't call me anymore. But so they worked it out with Fox to where they would be able to be there for prelims, but then they flew in someone because they weren't able to film the actual show.
Telecast, right.
But long story short, they flew in someone, he took it off of his camera, the footage was never shown because it was bad. It was hard balancing those two things. And season 2 was definitely more like I said, like the chains were off. Like I don't have to, not that I was trying to be someone else, but like, you got to be real careful what you put on television while you're also a title holder. Yes. So, but yeah, I think that for certain people, different strokes for different folks, but it's a great way if you have a spontaneous personality and you're up for that. And I think the one downside, but also as a pro and a con, my whole family was on the show. So like that makes it a little bit more complicated, especially with season 2. My cousin was engaged or they're not engaged and they're not together. So like there's a lot of stuff that happened that it's difficult for someone to unfold in front of the camera.
So what have been some of your biggest challenges that you've had to overcome when it comes to just overall life, and how do you deal with those?
I think recently some of the challenges that I've been facing is just kind of finding out what I'm going to be doing in my next step. I've clearly not had a very normal life, I guess, so to say, in the last few years. And, a lot of that has paid a lot of the bills, and a lot of this has been really great, and it's opened a lot of doors for me. So, right now I'm just trying to really pray upon like what the Lord has in store for me. And for anyone watching that's like in their 20s or, 30, whoever that's just like trying to figure it out, my greatest advice would just to be like, regardless of religion or what you believe in, just whatever higher power, just know that if you put in the effort, it's going to be able to work out. I pray about things and I feel like that God has intended a certain road and a certain path for me. But another also completely other set of advice would be, as you get older, and especially like, as you know, Tori, when you have this public figure persona going on, there's a lot of people that they either drop you or they act like that they've been knowing you for 10 years.
Yeah.
And you're like, I haven't talked to you since I was maybe 18. But I think that either if it's like with family members, like as I've said before, my family and I are very close, and there's a fallout that's happened between my cousin and I, Jackson, that is probably one that potentially might be permanent, that might not be permanent, but it's hard. It's hard growing apart from somebody when you're growing yourself. And not everyone's going to grow with you, and some relationships have expiration dates, and that's very hard when you're getting older to be able to realize that. So I think that when you are growing, or when you have a lot of opportunities, and when you're kind of in the spotlight, or if you're not in the spotlight, or when you're doing the best you possibly can, when someone shows you who they are, believe them and keep on doing you.
Exactly. So what are like 3 habits maybe that you do on a daily basis? Maybe you have 5, maybe you have 10, I don't know. But what are some daily habits that you do just to like keep your mindset on track and to keep your energy up?
So as a freelance website designer, which I definitely go crazy about because I'm in my apartment staring at a computer screen all day long. One thing I do is I always start off my mornings with Jesus calling. And
Ooh, I love
oh,
that.
yeah, I know. I actually, wait, you posted one today.
I did. Yes.
One of my other friends, Steven, he posted the same one, and I read it and I was like, yes, because I think they all both have an extended version. I need to get that one. But I have one that my mom gave me in 2008. So it is like broken, like but like it's precious to me because of that.
Yeah.
But so I do that, and then I go on sanity walks, which
I like that. Sanity walks.
so I either do laps around my apartment floor, or like I go outside. If it's too cold, I'll just go in my apartment. But like, and I do that. And another thing is that this is so crazy, and this is not going to work for everyone. I know that. And like my boyfriend thinks I'm crazy, my mom thinks I'm crazy, but I am a huge reality TV show fan. I might be on a reality TV show, but I'm a big Bravo fan child. And so I will watch all the Bravo shows, and I have to keep up with my shows all the time. Like every housewife show, whatever else. But so I'll like have that playing in the background of my computer when I do stuff, just because I have to have some background noise, and like,
Right.
and I don't really do TV. And so like I just said reality TV, but I like being able to like listen to something and to be able to do what I can. But you know, I am kind of the person that likes to do independent work. So for what I'm doing, those things work for me. Just calling, standing walks, and somehow listening to Bravo shows. So,
Hey, you know what? That sounds like a great routine to me.
I know it's working, I think.
Everybody has a different routine, and I think, you know, definitely mine's my morning routine, but I think you just have to figure out what works for you, and hey, do one thing this day, do one thing this day, or that week and this week, and then just roll with it. See whatever works in your schedule. I don't think anything is set in stone, like this is the best, this is what's going to make you successful. I think it's whatever works best for you and whatever makes you the most productive. So that's interesting. I like the sanity walks. I'm going to steal that one.
Hashtag sanity walk.
I really appreciate you coming on the show today. It's been so fun seeing you and just talking to you, because it's been 2 years, which is absolutely mind-blowing still. But lasting piece of advice, I know you said so many amazing things already. So words of wisdom for any females listening.
Yeah. I think that the last part of advice that I would give is that to just try to keep going, because regardless of all the things that I've said during this entire time that I've accomplished and that I have done and that are incredible and, you know, public, there have been many moments where I have been like, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there have been 1,000 times where I've been like, how am I even going to afford rent? You know, I think people look at people that are in the public eye or have had a public title as like, you know, these girls that just have it all together. Like, I'm the first one to say that I do not. So who does?
No.
But I think that if women start to understand that, you know, people that have this opportunity of being real and that have had all these incredible things happen to them, like you and I have, And because no one will ever be able to understand the experience you and I have had together, and like that we've had a Miss USA and that we've had doing this. And so if women start to understand that that is not the norm, but regardless, we struggle too. And
Amen.
to just keep going, because somehow in some way, there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel, and it always ends up working out. And to have yourself surrounded by people that love you and appreciate and support you.
Amen, sister. I couldn't have said it any better. Well, thank you so much again. I really appreciate it. And like, it's so great seeing you, and so great talking to you and hearing your story, because really at Miss USA, we didn't talk that much about our stories because we were so focused on
we didn't have time to wipe our nose. Like, it was like we didn't have to do anything. Like, no.
So it was so awesome talking to you, girl, but I will talk to you soon, and thanks again so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that episode just as much as I did. Please put your comments below, click subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, follow me on social media at Miss Tori Kruse. Until next time, be unstoppable.